We all have them. Those go-to habits when life gets stressful. That extra scoop of ice cream, binge watching one more episode, or just endlessly scrolling. We call them coping mechanisms. But what happens when the very things we used to feel better start causing their own problems? So let's get real for a second. Really think about it. When the pressure is on, when that wave of anxiety hits, what's your first instinct? What's that automatic thing you do when you feel completely overwhelmed? I bet some of these look pretty familiar, right? The endless doom scroll on your phone, losing an entire weekend to a Netflix binge. Or hey, maybe you're the one who just buries themselves in work to avoid, well, everything else. Whether it's comfort food or putting off that tough conversation, we all have our version of this. Okay, so what's really going on in these moments? Are these little habits a life raft, or are they an anchor pulling us down? Let's break down the difference. First off, let's just get a simple definition on the table. Coping mechanisms are really just the strategies or behaviors we all use to handle stress and tough emotions. And this can be totally conscious, like deciding to go for a run, or completely unconscious, like biting your nails without even noticing you're doing it. So coping isn't just one thing, it's really a spectrum. On one side, you've got the healthy or adaptive coping. These are actions that actually tackle the problem or soothe you in a way that helps, leading to a better outcome. But on the other side, well, that's where you find the unhealthy or maladaptive coping. And that's where the trouble really starts. You see, the promise of an unhealthy coping mechanism is it's incredibly seductive. It offers this quick, temporary relief from emotional pain. It's a distraction, a numbing agent, a little escape hatch from whatever feels awful in the moment. And you know what? For a little while, it works. But here's the trap. That temporary relief, it has a cost, a big one. The original problem, it doesn't just go away. By ignoring it, we often feed it, letting it grow bigger and meaner in the background. And even worse, these habits start creating their own brand new problems, like financial stress, health issues, or strained relationships. Now, these unhealthy behaviors usually pop up in two main ways. First, you've got trying to fix the problem, but in a harmful way. Think lashing out in anger or just completely avoiding the situation altogether. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The second way is trying to just numb the feeling instead. Zoning out, getting lost in denial, or running that same negative thought over and over in your head. So, if we know they're harmful, why on earth is it so hard to stop? Well, the most crucial thing to understand is this. These habits aren't some kind of character flaw. They're a function. They were survival skills that honestly may have just outlived their usefulness. Think about it. We develop these behaviors as a way to get through situations that feel completely overwhelming or out of our control. They are learned responses, often from a time in our lives when we just didn't have better tools to manage what was happening around us or inside of us. I think this quote from our source material just puts it perfectly. Engaging in unhealthy coping behaviors doesn't make you weak or a failure. Many of these behaviors make a lot of sense when viewed in the context of a person's full set of life experiences. At one point, they were a form of self-protection. They served a purpose. And when you look at the common roots, it all becomes even clearer. Things like past trauma, maybe growing up in a home where your feelings were dismissed, or just simply not having anyone around to show you healthy ways to deal with stress. Any of these can set the stage for these patterns to develop. Okay, so that's the what and the why. But now for the most important part of this whole explainer, the path to change. How do we actually start building a new way forward? The sources lay out this really clear 4-step framework. And it all starts with awareness, just noticing what you're doing without judgment. Then you start to identify your triggers. What situations or feelings kick these behaviors off? From there, it's about building your support network, and then finally, actively choosing to adopt new positive strategies. And listen, the goal here is absolutely not perfection. It's not about finding one magic bullet that fixes everything. The idea is to build a varied menu of healthy skills, a whole toolkit of different options you can turn to when you need them. So what exactly goes into this new coping toolkit? Let's dive into some practical and healthy alternatives that you can start trying, like today. First step, we've got mindfulness and calming tools. These are all about grounding you in the present moment and just lowering that stress response. We're talking simple breathing exercises, taking just a minute to list things you're grateful for, or even just scribbling your thoughts down in a journal to get them out of your head. Next, let's talk about physical and active tools. Sometimes the absolute best way to get out of your head is to get into your body. This can be anything from regular exercise to just taking a quick walk outside. And it also includes the basics, like good sleep and nutrition, which honestly make everything else so much easier. And finally, we have action and support tools. These are about reclaiming a sense of control and leaning on your connections. That could look like making a simple to-do list to tackle a big project, setting some healthier boundaries in your relationships, or reaching out to talk to a friend you trust, a family member, or, of course, a professional therapist. And if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this: change is a journey. It is not an overnight fix. The goal is always, always progress, not perfection. So please, be patient and be compassionate with yourself along the way. So let's end with this question. Out of all these healthy options we just talked about, what's one small thing you can try this week? It doesn't have to be big, just one new choice. Because that's where change really begins.